There is a claim that has been circulating online for about a decade now. Cats see their owners as big, stupid cats. It shows up in articles, in videos, in social media posts, always presented as settled science. The source is usually attributed to John Bradshaw, a biologist at the University of Bristol who spent 30 years studying cat behaviour. The claim sounds clean, memorable, shareable. It is also not what he said. And the gap between what he actually wrote and what the internet decided he meant is one of the most instructive examples of how a nuanced finding becomes a viral oversimplification. In the last video, we watched two cats negotiate territory. This one asks a harder question, not how cats see each other, but how a cat sees the large, slow, oddly shaped animal that controls the food supply and the door handles. What Bradshaw actually proposed in his 2013 book Cat Sense is more cautious than the meme version. He observed that cats do not appear to alter their social behaviour when interacting with humans compared to when they interact with other cats. A cat that headbutts another cat also headbutts a person. A cat that raises her tail in greeting to another cat raises her tail to a person. A cat that needs another cat's body also needs a human lap. His conclusion was not that cats think humans are cats, it was that cats have not developed a separate social repertoire for interacting with humans. They use the same signals because those are the only signals they have. The distinction is significant. One version says the cat is confused about what species the person is. The other says the cat is using the only social language available. The second version is what Bradshaw wrote. The first version is what the internet remembered. There is another layer to this. In 2016, researchers at the University of Lincoln, including Daniel Mills, published a study on social referencing in cats. Social referencing is a behaviour where an individual looks at another individual's reaction to decide how to respond to something new or ambiguous. Human infants do this constantly. A baby encounters a strange object, looks at the parent's face and uses the parent's expression to decide whether to approach or retreat. Dogs do this with their owners reliably and consistently. The Lincoln team tested whether cats do the same. They placed cats in a room with an unfamiliar object, a fan with streamers attached, and observed whether the cats looked at their owner's face before deciding what to do. The results were mixed. Cats did show some evidence of social referencing, looking at their owner's face when confronted with the object, but the effect was weaker and less consistent than in dogs. Some cats referenced the owner. Some ignored the owner entirely and investigated the object alone. Some walked out of the room. What this suggests is that cats are capable of reading human emotional signals but do not depend on them the way dogs do. The relationship is consultative, not dependent. The cat checks in but does not wait for permission. That is different from seeing the person as a parent, and it is different from seeing the person as another cat. The Oregon State Attachment Study from 2019, which we discussed in earlier videos, adds another piece. About 65% of cats form a secure attachment to their primary caregiver. That means the person functions as a secure base, a fixed point that lowers stress and enables exploration. But attachment is not the same as perception. A cat can be securely attached to a person without having any specific cognitive model of what that person is. The attachment is functional, not conceptual. The nervous system recognizes this individual as a source of safety. Whether the cat categorizes that individual as cat, human, parent, or something else entirely is a question that the attachment data cannot answer. And this is where most popular explanations go wrong. They conflate what the cat does with what the cat thinks. A cat that shows attachment behaviors is not necessarily a cat that understands the relationship. She is a cat whose nervous system has learned a pattern. Stimulus. This person is present. Response, cortisol drops, exploration increases, body relaxes. That pattern is real and measurable. The story about what it means inside the cat's mind is ours. There is one behavioural difference that deserves attention because it complicates every theory. Cats treat humans and other cats differently in at least one observable way. They vocalise to humans far more than they vocalise to other cats. Adult cats rarely meow at each other. Meowing is a behaviour that exists almost exclusively in the context of the human relationship. Kittens meow to their mothers, adults meow to their owners. With other adult cats, they use body language, scent, and positioning. I have 5 cats. They communicate with each other through posture, ear position, tail height, and slow approaches, almost no sound. But the moment a person enters the room, 3 of the 5 start vocalizing. Different tones, different patterns, each one calibrated to a specific person in the household. Milo has a short, low meow for the person who feeds him, and a completely different, higher, longer vocalization for the person who plays with him. Same cat, 2 humans, 2 acoustic strategies. The fact that cats retained and adapted a juvenile vocalization specifically for use with humans suggests that whatever cognitive category the person occupies, it is not identical to the category occupied by another adult cat. The person is something different. Not a parent exactly, because the cat does not show dependent behaviours the way a kitten does with a mother. Not a fellow cat, because the vocalization pattern is unique. Not a predator, because the cat approaches voluntarily. Something else. And the honest answer from researchers working in this field is that we do not yet have a term for it. This is where the conversation usually gets uncomfortable. People want a clean answer. She thinks I am her mother. She sees me as a big friendly cat. She considers me her equal. Each of these is satisfying. None of them is supported by the current evidence. What the data supports is a description, not a label. The cat treats the person as a consistent source of warmth, food, and safety who responds to certain vocalizations and whose emotional state can be partially read through body language and chemical signals. The cat uses the same social behaviors she would use with another cat because she has no alternative set. She has adapted one specific behavior, vocalization, for use exclusively with this type of being. And her nervous system has learned over months or years that this particular individual is safe enough to sleep next to, safe enough to turn her back on, safe enough to touch with a paw and leave it there. The discomfort comes from the gap between what people need the relationship to be and what science can confirm it is. Every label that gets applied, mother, friend, roommate, deity, is a projection, not necessarily wrong, but unverified. And the difference between a comforting projection and an honest observation is the difference between a story that feels good and a foundation that holds weight. That description is not poetic. It does not compress into a shareable quote, but it has the advantage of being accurate. And there is something valuable in sitting with the uncertainty instead of filling it with a comfortable story. Because the real question is not, what does my cat think I am? The real question is, does it matter? If the cat sleeps next to someone, checks on their breathing, adjusts her behaviour when they are stressed, and places a paw on their hand for no reason at all, the label for what the person is inside the cat's mind changes nothing about the behaviour. The behaviour is the relationship, and the behaviour is real. We have spent 7 videos on what cats do, what they see, how they bond, how they introduce themselves to each other, what their paw means, what their purr means. All of it has been about the cat. But there is one topic left that no channel in this niche talks about directly. What happens when the cat is the only one? The only warmth in the apartment? The only living thing that notices when someone comes home? That is not a cat behaviour question. That is a human one. And it is next.